Yo, what is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today's video, the last video of the week before next week where Christmas is coming up. It's going to be a great Christmas. Today's video is going to be a look at the meta, and we're just going to be talking about all the roles, solo, jungle, mid, ADC, and support, what I expect for the rest of the year, whether it's SPL or in ranked, just what is going to be dictated in the games, what I expect more than anything, because I could be wrong. I'm going to throw out some bold claims, and maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. We'll see. Let's just jump right in, starting with the solo lane, because that's the most fun. After a bunch of changes last patch to mages and warriors in solo lane, I think it is officially a balanced role in terms of what you're going to be seeing playing over there. I think you'll see a couple guardians. I think you will see some warriors. And I think you will also still see some mages. I think most of the mages that were played are still going to be fine. I think there's other mages that might pop up. I think the most important thing in the game right now currently is level 20 and how effective you are in those late game team fights. I think warriors in their current state are still not great, but I also don't think mages with their current build are also going to be that great. I think hunters, a lot of hunters are building Deathbringer. That's a spoiler for when we get to the ADC. You're not living a late game hunter. I think before the build was nerfed, I think the mage build was one of the few builds in the game that could output almost enough damage, but had just more sustain that you could just out-trade Deathbringer hunters. But with a bunch of nerfs to it, now no longer do you have the sustain to match them. You don't have nearly as much damage. Your tankiness has fallen a little bit. And I think officially you will not be able to fight those Deathbringer hunters anymore. But I do think that there will be still some mages that are played, whether it's Raijin, whether it's Barons, Zhongs, what are some of the other mages that were played against? Apwash, maybe even Hades comes out. I think that mages are still going to be fine, but I think we will be seeing a lot of warriors at Worlds, and that is my expectation. I think both Sundering Axe and Redstone are viable paths in the current build. I think that a lot of the good warriors, and I think, spoiler alert, there are some warriors that I think are just horrible and you won't see played, but I think gods like Alma, Sun Wukong, Tyr, Hercules are all going to be gods we see at Worlds. Will they be the god that kind of dictates Worlds? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I think mid and hunter is too important right now. So I think those are going to be the classes that dictate Worlds a little bit more. But I do think that warriors will be in a good spot and they will see some play. Lastly, I think a couple guardians will be played. I think Artio and Serb will have a lot of potential. I think Xing Chen, Sobek also have some potential. I do think that they're still outright worse than mages and warriors, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see them a little bit. Going into jungle, I think the jungle role is easiest to say what's going to happen. I think warriors in jungle aren't a threat. I do not think that there is enough damage in the game and enough tankiness in the game for them to be threats at any point. But assassins as is, I think they have very good build paths. I think Jotuns is still one of the best spikes in the game. I think they still scale well into the late game. And I think it goes for most assassins. A Willix, I think, is in a really good spot. I think gods like Fenrir, Hunbots, Lance, Mercury, Naja, Nem. I think Rat's still fine. I really could see Robin getting played a lot. He got 15% damage added into his kit. Probably not Serket really set, not really. Susano, potentially. He did get nerfed, but I think he's a really good comfort pick for a lot of junglers. And then possibly Thanatos, Thor. Suki, I'll say probably not, but I think Assassin is the easiest to call. I think a bunch of Assassins will be played, namely the ones I mentioned, but that's going to be one of the least interesting things. Mages in mid, another one that's not too hard to talk about. Hunters are not really too much of a threat to them in mid right now. I think their build path is way too strong. I think Book of Thoth is insane with what it does. Highest damage, gives you flat pen, and you never run out of mana. You can combo it with breastplate, so then you have all those things and also a defensive item that makes you do more damage also. So I think mages are going to be just fine. You'll see gods like Thoth. I do think gods like Raijin could be played also. A lot of them won't really change. I think gods like Baba are still going to be there. Agni, Disco. I think they'll always be fine. Janice. And then my pick for one of the most important mid laners for Worlds is actually going to be Kukulkan. I think he is going to be maybe picked banned like every game. I think his just insanely good build path. One of the few mages that can reach 900 power easily because of his passive with Book. And then another god I want to touch on is Apwash. I think he's still doing fine solo mid, but I think Kukulkan is the one that I want to stake claim on, as I think this character's insane. And then lastly to touch on, just because I have to, Maman. Don't know mid or jungle. She saw more play in mid. That makes me think she's going to be played in mid more than jungle, but she's insane still. The nerf to her hurts her early game a little bit, but I think her late game is still phenomenal. Next, ADC. Build path, I could tell you the build path right now. Leader's Cowl, Dev's Gloves, Xe, Dom, Wind Demon, Deathbringer. For nearly every character. Yes, some characters don't want Demon Blade? Wind Demon? Demon Blade. Some characters don't want Demon Blade. They want Fail Not. Chernobog, maybe Cupid if he's played. Some of the other just hunters that like Fail Not. But that's going to be the build for ADC, and it's pretty easy to guess right now. On her, obviously, I wouldn't be too surprised if Chernobog is still top tier even after his nerfs. And then gods like Izza, Ishtar are still going to be good. Heimdall, Rom. And I will add in a sneaky little... There'll be an Uller game or two. Will he win? But there'll be an Uller game or two. And I also think Dan's is in a decent spot. I wouldn't be too surprised to see him. Lastly, touching on support, I've got top 3 right here. But to mention supports that I think are going to be good, I think Athena is hurting a lot from that nerf. I think she's going to fall off a good chunk. I think some teams will still play her, but I don't expect her to be picked banned every game or even close. I think Charon is in a great spot. I think gods like Maui, Sylvanas have a little bit of strength right now. But the 3 that stick out to me as really, really strong right now, Sobek has seen so much play and he's been incredible. This one might be a little bit surprising, but I still think Khepri is in a great spot. I wouldn't be surprised to see too much Khepri. And then a 3A, 3B, Yemoja and Ganesh. I think they're pretty similar with what they do. I think the sustain that Yemoja brings is a little bit different than Ganesh's hyper defensive style with the silence, and it's a little bit more counterplay. But I think both of them are going to be right there. And then low-key, hopefully not, but we unfortunately might see a Geb game or two. I think he is an incredible counter pick into some gods. I think teams don't really value counter picking. They see a god and they think it's just terrible, and so they don't think they can ever play it. But I wouldn't be too surprised to see Geb. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the meta, what it's going to kind of devolve into. This goes for ranked and for SPL, because a lot of the time SPL gets played, and then whatever gets played in SPL then gets followed up in ranked. So that's my prediction for what I'm going to see. So if you guys want to get ahead of the curve, start playing what I'm talking about. Hopefully I'm right. If I'm wrong, it's going to be a little embarrassing. But that's the fun of predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.